Welcome to this presentation entitled College While Incarcerated, Understanding Higher Education in Prison and Jails. My name is Dr. Kalinda Jones, and my focus in the prison education program here at Los Rios is on pedagogical practices and what we do in the classroom as faculty.
And I'm Dr. Mariko Pashan-McGarry, and I'm the Director of the Prison and Reentry Education Program for Los Rios Community College District, which includes all 4 of our colleges, 3 state prisons, county jails, juvenile hall, and the reentry networks in the region.
We'd like to talk to you now a little bit about the background of college in correctional facilities. So in 2014, the Senate Bill 1391 was passed. This was based on the understanding and research that tells us that higher education in prisons decreases recidivism and assists with more effective reentry for those leaving correctional facilities. What happened in SB 1391 was that community colleges in the state of California were provided the funds for full apportionment in order to provide face-to-face education in correctional facilities. The California Community College Chancellor's Office released an inmate education grant, and Folsom Lake College was one of the 4 pilot programs in the state to receive the grant. That began our work in the spring of 2016 at Folsom Women's Facility. We began there with small business entrepreneurship and management. Later we added culinary, and we also in the spring of 2016 began at Mule Creek State Prison offering social work human service programs or classes.
Since then, the Prison and Reentry Education Program has expanded quite a bit to serve over 1,650 students, offer 97 classes throughout 6 different programs, which includes social work human services, small business entrepreneurship management, culinary arts, communications studies, human and career development, and sociology, in 5 facilities in our region. This includes Folsom Women's Facility, Folsom State Prison Men's, Mule Creek State Prison, the Rio Cosumnes Correctional Center, and the Youth Detention Facility in Sacramento. As a result of this effort, over 900 milestones have been awarded since the inception of the Folsom Lake College and Los Rios program, which means that our students at the state prison level have been able to earn time off of their sentence by earning every 3-unit course throughout their program. This results in thousands and thousands of dollars saved to our community and our state budgets. Throughout the program with Social Work Human Services, we've had over 40 completers, with more set to complete and pursue the associate's degree and other associate's degree for transfer beginning this spring. And Los Rios Community College District has had involvement from a variety of departments and support systems. This includes myself as the director. We have several counselors throughout the district who are providing academic support and education planning. The Admissions and Records Department have been incredibly supportive in processing all of our student applications, with partnerships in financial aid to ensure that our students are being supported with the California Promise Grant. And we've worked hard to have full-time and part-time faculty in all of the facilities, as well as much support from classified staff who assist with all of the processes that our students have to complete in order to access college while incarcerated. Now, the future of the program largely rests on this desire to ensure that there's alignment between the experience of college students on campus and those in what we call our satellite campuses in various correctional facilities throughout the region. And the goal here is to expand into all yards in every facility so that there's equal access to anyone who wants to be a college student, much like there would be in our community. This also ensures that we are reaching out to all county jails, as state legislation means that many of our students who would have received access to college courses at the state prison level are now here in our community and in the jail system. This movement means that reentry is really a big emphasis for the Sacramento region because our students will be coming home and then they will be embedded in our communities. We really want to ensure that when they're reentering, we're attending to all of their intersectional identities, as many of them are formerly incarcerated and homeless and former foster youth and have learning disabilities and need support in a variety of ways to attend to their complex needs. We're also working hard to ensure that our students have a balanced ratio between full-time faculty and part-time faculty, much like they receive on campus, and thus have access to a greater breadth and depth of instructional and academic support. We're working to ensure that all student services are implemented to the greatest extent possible in these facilities. This includes things like tutoring, various writing workshops, and EOPS services whenever possible. We'd also like to see the partnership with California State University, Sacramento flourish to bring the bachelor's program in communication studies in for our students who are in pursuit of their associate's degrees. As we move forward and make these efforts, there are several pieces of our own development and practice that we'd like to take a moment to examine.
In my role as a faculty member, my area of specialty is social work, human services. Specifically, I'm trained as a counseling psychologist. And one of the things that I think is vitally important to any work that we do with students is for us to spend some time in self-awareness, to think about the beliefs that we have, which often can be implicit about whatever student population that we're working with. In particular, this student population often receives the label of criminal. And so I'd like you to take a moment and think about what you've seen on the evening news, what you might have seen on social media or read in newspapers, as you've watched crime dramas. What are the ideas that come to you about people who are incarcerated? What color of skin do they have? What gender are they? What kind of crimes have they committed? And what might you think actually about their character? These are all, and there are many more, but those are all very important questions to consider in working with students who have been justice involved in some way. And we find particularly that there are some stereotypes or beliefs that people have that we're hearing consistently, and we'd like to address those now.
And those beliefs and stereotypes are really centered around who these students are. So before individuals participate and teach in this program, we often hear several stereotypes that we'd like to take a moment to just process and talk through as part of your reflection. The first is that many believe our students in the correctional facilities have plenty of time on their hands. The reality is our students also maintain full-time jobs in various capacities, including culinary arts, automotive, wastewater, welding, and various other professional responsibilities in the facilities. They sleep in communal settings, which means they don't sleep well, and they attend a variety of mandatory and voluntary programming in the evenings to enhance their rehabilitation and addiction recovery experience. College is one of those many voluntary commitments that they take on in addition to many of their other responsibilities. This is really reflective of what our students on campus experience as well. We often hear that individuals in correctional facilities can't handle college-level classes. The truth is, many of our students were professionals prior to being incarcerated, and some have experience with very high levels of math and engineering and science. So what we don't know is what our students can handle when it's offered. So we've really worked hard to increase the opportunity to prove their academic abilities along the way. We often hear that the crime is what the person is. The crime really is a part of our students' life trajectory and the experience that led them back to college. So it is a piece of their experience, it is not their sole identity. We also hear that individuals in correctional facilities do not deserve a, quote, free education. Our students intend, upon release, to contribute back to their communities, and they do currently live in a community, as correctional facilities functions much like small towns and have all of the essential services. Individuals in college programs contribute more positively to their communities in correctional facilities as a result of their enhanced awareness of their own abilities and their impact on others. So their contribution starts in the facility and then impacts the community upon release. There's also a common belief that those with a life sentence cannot give back and contribute to the community. The Vera Institute recently conducted research that found that individuals who have a life sentence are more likely to become positive mentors in correctional facilities and decrease the rates of violence and aggression in yards, housing units, and with state employees who work in the facilities. This means that our students actually do have quite an opportunity to contribute both in and out of the facility.
So for people who begin working in the prison education program, we often see that as they come in contact and hear more from the students, get to know them, that a different kind of underlying set of beliefs either form or come to the surface. And one of those is the idea of like, wow, I can't believe it. They're such amazing students. They have such great things to say. They think so deeply about things. And I would say that when I first began reading students' papers, I was like engaging kind of in this thought process. And I quickly learned that that can be really detrimental to students, and it really is based in an underlying belief that I thought that they weren't necessarily capable. So I challenged myself to kind of ask a different question, which is, what would have happened if this capability, this capacity had been accessed earlier in their lives? And although it's not helpful to dwell in the past, it does allow me to think about how my role in their lives now can be helpful in developing that. So this also goes with this idea that we sometimes hear about, like, oh, they're doing all their homework, they're doing way better than students on campus. And I guess for me personally, I just think that students are motivated to learn, and I challenge people to have the same expectations for students who are on campus as students who are in correctional facilities. I think that if we would challenge ourselves that way, we would be more effective in our work in both locations. Another thing that people can begin to see and believe as they hear student stories and hear some of their background or experiences, people will start to believe like, oh, it's their parents' fault, it's this fault, that fault. And what I would again encourage people to do is think broadly about the contextual environmental factors and systems that come to play or don't come to play in people's lives, and how we as members of a system now can be effective in that interaction. So this last question is, or this last thing that we often hear is, people's deep desire to save and rescue. One time when I was teaching at the prison, I was standing ready to go into the educational building, and one of the students who was about to have me in class came up and was talking to me, and he told me, he goes, I know you want to save everybody here, Dr. Jones, but da 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 da. And I was really taken aback because I really don't think that I can save everybody there, but this was something that was in some way being communicated. So I think it's important that we spend our own time in self-awareness to figure out what our motivations are to be in this context, and then we communicate those motivations to our students. So that would lead us to this question of, what do our students actually need? And whether you're a faculty member, a staff member, or an administrator, our students, we who work in the program, are hoping that people will continue to get involved who are willing, who either already have or are willing to further develop their cultural competency, their increased understanding of the context of prison and adapt for that context, build ongoing self-awareness, and start to develop a deeper understanding of the role, authority, and responsibility that come into play in the college classroom.
All of these things can contribute to what one of our students wrote about our need to have the unshakable belief in every human being's ability to grow, change, and learn, regardless of their setting.
So if you'd like to ask us more questions about the program, specifically if you'd like to ask about teaching in a correctional facility, please feel free to reach out to me.
And if you'd like to learn more about the Prison and Reentry Program, overall, the opportunities on and off campus, please get in touch with me.